All right. A very good morning to everyone. Welcome to the third edition of our Pathway Sports Parenting webinar series. It's a humble initiative from on the behalf of Sportz Village to get our parents up and close with experts from the industry to get their question answered. In the midst of raising sports aspirants, there are a lot of questions that we hear from parents on everyday basis. So here we are to help you get those questions answered, get some insights from different aspects of sports parenting. Today, I'm very happy to have Mr. Rajendra Kamath with us. He's a sport parent himself. Specifically, I like to call him a soccer dad. He's a soccer dad to not one, but two twins, Avnish and Arush, two very, very talented kids who have played soccer at multiple levels, state, national, they played for Bangalore FC. They've been selected for Reliance Foundation Young Champ Scholarship. And not just India, Rajendra, if I'm correct, they've played in multiple European countries, like Denmark, Europe. So and it's been a ride. I've spoken to Rajendra before this, and I can say vouch that it has been a very, very exciting journey for both Rajendra and Avnish and Arush. So Rajendra, welcome. A very, very warm welcome to you to our PathwayZ webinar series, and thank you for making the time today.
Thank you for having me, Nupur.
So let's get started. I think from what I know, Avnish and Arush started playing football from right at the age of 4. That's a very, very young age. So how did this introduction to football happen at such an early age?
Right. So, well, just to give a couple of lines of background, right? So, I have dabbled myself a bit in football. I'm a state level athlete. Football has been my passion growing up, like a lot of us in our age group. And that was one sport I knew very well. I have an older daughter, and then I have twin sons, and all of them were born in US. The whole idea of making them play was to just get them active on the ground. That was the idea. We started just with that. It was never soccer in mind. It was like just go out and play whatever you like. And like any other kids at that age, typically you start playing with a bat, ball, baseball, whatever, right? So my idea was when they were about 3-4 years, just from improving their hand-eye coordination, the way they ran, etc. I said, let us make it a bit more exciting for them. I put up cones in the backyard, right? Made them run around like we play Coco, right? So something of that sort.
Nice.
Just to get them interested. I used to time them, just for the fun of it, right? Absolutely nothing else behind, and that got them excited, right? So, and then, in a few months, when I saw that they were really into it, I said, let us make it a bit more interesting. Let us give a football, right? And you do it with your feet, and, then it makes it all the more interesting for them because now they have an objective of, making 5 or 6 goals, going through each of them, and again, timing them, right? So I think that is what got them interested. They also played baseball, they played, they went for swimming. So it was multi-sport. I said, whatever keeps them active, that was the idea. So that is how we started.
Nice. So the journey started for fun, the innate positive values of sports, which is fun, engagement, health, active. So it all started from there, I see. Right. So then at what point, Rajendra, did it feel that, should be engagement, health is okay, but there's something more to it? And what were the trigger points for you to realize that? Because I see a lot of parents like yourself, sports is fun, sports is active, healthy. But then if you want to make that switch towards it being a little more serious, what are the trigger points for you to realize that?
Right. So at that age, again, I was not thinking beyond the next few months. And typically what I saw is in school, the engagement level was what we were doing at home, right? There was no difference. And there were a couple of small parent-led kind of clubs, right?
Nice.
Just for these toddlers,
Mhm.
where a few of us who had played and dabbled a bit in football previously and wanted to have our kids play the same game. And there already was such a club in our vicinity, and that
Nice.
is where I joined. I said, okay, if they're doing it in the backyard, they might as well do it with other kids.
Mhm.
And the more the merrier, right? So it is just that that's how they started. So boys and girls, it was not even just boys,
Nice. Nice.
but it was with the entire kit. So just to make it exciting, and so that is how they started. So once they started that, they got engaged. They really liked the game, and they were having a lot of fun. So they were, in fact, looking forward to every weekend to go to
Very
that,
nice.
go to those, playgrounds and play with other kids. So I think that got me motivated. I said, okay, I mean, if they are happy, I think this is the least I can.
Yeah.
So that is how it started.
So their happiness is your happiness. Like if you're seeing them having fun,
Absolutely.
then it makes you go to the next mile.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So now
And
once we, sorry, go ahead.
sure. Please go ahead.
So after so they did that for a year and a half, and
Hmm.
then we came back to India, in Bangalore, and I was really fortunate that Bangalore has one of the best football scenes for these young kids. A lot of schools, a lot of interest, and a lot of parents who are really excited about having their kids play. It was not blind cricket, right? So obviously cricket was there. Cricket is there
Yeah.
everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But I was really happy to see that there was a level of engagement from the parents, from the schools, for football. So that really got me excited. So I think that helped.
That's good to hear that you saw such excitement both from the parents and the school level. That actually brings me to that next question. On what role did the school play in this journey of Avnish and Arush towards football excellence?
Huge, I would say. I think because the kids spend so much time in school, and they play multiple sports in school, so the level of engagement in school decides whether they want to put it to the next level or not. And I know that has been my experience. Obviously, there'll be others who would have different experience, but that is what I have seen. There are clubs and academies outside of school, but that time is very limited. Here the coach sees you through the day. You are engaged. You have the P period. You have tournaments. You have interclass. There are just so many avenues of engaging the kids who really are interested, and then they themselves make up their own teams, and they went to Greenwood High, and I mean, Sudhakar, who was the coach, who still is the coach in Greenwood High, is one of the most passionate coaches I've seen. He would be on the playground early morning, 6 o'clock, irrespective of whether the kids turned up or not. So I mean, that showed the level of commitment that gentleman has. And so I asked him whether he can take my boys as well as part of those training lessons, and he said, "Yeah, absolutely. Just make sure they come up every day at this time in the morning, and we'll see how it goes." So in fact, for a year, and sometimes even I was frustrated with that, but for a year, they went for training every day, but there was not a single tournament they played that year. And towards the midway somewhere, when I thought the boys were kind of losing it, saying, we're just going for training, you're not playing matches. And this argument could go both ways. But Sudhakar said, I just want to see the level of engagement they want to continue. Whether they're really interested. And I'm like, they are in second, third grade, right? Shouldn't this be more engaging and ensure that they listen? Well, that is how I take it. So the couple of batches and the parents I spoke to, they pretty much had all gone through a similar experience. So that I said, okay, let's see how it goes. But that 1 year, after that 1 year, once the boys started playing in the team, I think they have not looked back. So it is really exciting to see that the number of tournaments they went to and the number of tournaments they won, because I think the practice and the process through which Sudhakar coached these kids has been so fantastic.
And he, if I'm not mistaken, he was the PE coach in the school, or he was.
Well, I mean, there is no distinguish.
Okay.
They didn't distinguish between PE and, but he was pretty much the football coach. He was known for
Okay,
football
from at the school.
at the school, yes. And his sweet spot was ages 8 to 12.
Got it.
And that is where he brings in, brings out the best. So he's a
Yeah.
bit rough. He has his own way of coaching. A lot of parents don't appreciate in this day and age the kind of, sometimes he's a bit rash.
Yeah.
So,
But it's great that you showed that confidence in his coaching style, right? Otherwise, it could go anywhere.
Yeah, and again, there are two schools of thought. We have been through a certain kind of coaching, so we know that aspect. At some point, when I felt that the boys, as a parent, right? I mean, every parent feels that my kid is the best or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also felt that my boys are pretty decent, and I thought if they could go to the next step, there should be some structure around it. And for that structure to happen, sometimes you just have to push them a bit.
Got it.
So I said, okay, let me try it. Worst case, what will happen? They might give up.
Yeah.
Worst case, if they're not interested, they're not good enough. The kids get a sense of that themselves. So I said, let us see how it goes. So that was my idea of.
Got it. Nice. And interesting. So then, let's say they were, and what were these competitions, Rajan, that they were playing with in? How do you get to know about these competitions?
So these were all through the schools, pretty much.
Okay.
So there are multiple schools which conduct football tournaments for that age group. And I think all these coaches, they pretty much know each other, right? So at least the inter-school competition within Bangalore, and again, thanks to Sudhakar, he stays somewhere near Coxtown, and then a whole lot of coaches and some of very good football players in Bangalore come from that space, that area. So a lot of these coaches know each other, and in their network they talk about each other tournaments which are coming up, which are held every year. So that information is known. I don't think as a parent I ever had to go out and search for that. It was pretty much through.
Got it. So competition. And was there anything? So clearly, Sudhakar played a key role in this journey, right? That was one. Let's say a value driver in your journey. Was there anything else that you felt that it should have, if I had this, then it would have further helped my children, or if this was not there, then maybe the journey would have broken?
So I did two things in parallel. One was obviously the school, and then I said, okay, there is a lot of action which happens, and kids, they see this BFC team playing, and suddenly they're interested in BFC, etc. And BFC also started under, I think, 10 under 12 academy. It was Bangalore based. They were having coaches, coaching near the same Coxtown and that area. And I said, why not try for that, right? Let the kids go. In a way, they also get to see not just because they're playing within the school and within as part of the school team. This also gives them an individual perspective to what is out there in the environment. Right. So we went for a lot of these BFC training. They had their own selection process. And that's how they got selection. They got selected for BFC under 12 when they were, I think, 9 or 10 years old. Nice. That was a huge, leg up for them. Even some of the other coaches in BFC suddenly came and spoke to them, saying, would you like to play for BFC? We have this tournament coming up, and then that really creates an excitement. And I'm in fact, I think from their Greenwood team. The kids who Sudhakar coached, I think 6 to 7 of them got selected. So I think that showed, and they were all together there as well. So I think the bonding helps, and that pretty much takes them. Otherwise, sometimes the kid is alone and not maybe shy, it doesn't come out. So anything could get in that, right? So I think that also helps. So these two things happened in parallel. I think which really definitely made life easier for us. The only thing we were doing was, pretty much driving them around in the city right? Every day, every
Yeah.
afternoon. My wife, she
That
pretty
also
much
requires
was.
a lot of effort. So
Oh yeah,
kudos to you.
I couldn't do any of that, but my wife was pretty much doing that job the whole day. Sudhakar used to call her saying, "Ma'am, can you come and pick up the kids?" And the team used to be how the team used to be in our car. So yeah, so a lot of effort, but I think that's the least you could do, I guess.
So if I could summarize that, the role that Rajendra, the role that Sudhakar played one, the presence of having multiple competitions around to keep the boys excited, parent groups around you that give you the support system, the peer group around the boys, right? That they also had other friends who were playing and they could bond with them, and opportunities like, let's say scouting from PFC, their grassroots teams. So these were all the ecosystem around you that helped in this journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, Sudhakar made sure that he went for, there was this tournament called SFC, I forget the full form, and this was the national level, right? So at 10, they won the under 12 nationals, and the next year again they won the under 12 nationals. In fact, through that, Avnish got selected for a 2-week training camp in Crystal Palace in UK.
Okay, nice.
So, some of these things just boost the confidence, because suddenly, there are multiple other folks who are talking to you, trying to understand what you did, what you want to do, etc. It's just something, it's a chip on the shoulder, right? So,
got it. Yeah. So these small wins boost not only the child's confidence, but also your confidence as a sportsman.
Absolutely. I think for us, the challenge was more, because we had twins. And, like Avnish got selected for UK, and then Arush obviously did not. And while he was happy, he, slyly asked me saying, "Can you pay and can I go?" Right. So, you want to be happy for one, but obviously you can't be over the top because you have the other one who's kind of sulking, right? So you have to try and balance. So I think that was a very interesting
That's actually a very, very interesting point I will bring out. How do you handle rejection, failure, right? The road is not always rosy, as we know, for sports, right? So, and in your case, it was even more complicated having two boys with the same journey, and I'm sure there will be ups and downs while they're going through it. So, give us some more insights on, as a parent, how do you handle failures for the child, and what kind of support system exists maybe around you, and if not, then what would you like to see as a support system?
Right. So I think, as you said, right, as a parent of a twin, I think the level of challenge is a bit totally different. A lot of talk with the boys. So I think somewhere I felt that, right from the age of 7 or 8, they were more mature in terms of handling the setbacks. I don't know why, right? Because the only thing we could do was keep talking to these boys, right? After the games, they have lost some, when you win as a team, I think everything is hunky dory, everybody's on the top. But when you lose a final, or you lose a final because of one of the twin, and suddenly, there's a lot of pressure on that kid saying, oh, I mean, it is because of me that, it happened, miss a penalty or whatever, right? Or give away a penalty. So a lot of talk, I think, to make sure that they understand that this is part of the, just part of this, another game, right? So you win some, you lose some. I think credit to my wife. I think she has been the pretty much the bedrock of talking to the boys. I think Sudhakar has helped again quite a lot in terms of talking to the kids, talking to the boys specifically. He was after me. He was the one who told me to send them to BFC. Said that I know that they can make it. I know they can. They have the potential, right? That's where it goes. But he did a lot of talking. In fact, when Avnish got selected for UK, he was the one who spoke to Arush quite a bit. I think a third person talking to, or a coach talking to you, has extremely different impact versus a parent, because parents are good, bad, ugly. You are at home, so you keep talking, right? So sometimes the kid feels that maybe they get it, maybe they don't, but they probably are not able to express it. But when a coach has that word with them, I think it makes a lot of difference. I think that really helped quite a bit.
Right.
So yeah.
Great. Interesting conversation, Rajan. While we are speaking, just request our audiences if they have any questions, they can put it in the chat. And while I'm speaking, there's already one question that we've received. So I'll take that question right now. So, what would you advise parents who are trying to support their child's sporting journey? When and how can they decide if the child is good enough or not? And how to help the child deal with the next steps?
Right. So in our case, and again, every child experience and journey is going to be different. But as a parent, in school, when I saw that they were doing well, I used to go to a lot of their tournaments as well. So I think somewhere you need to take a judgment call to try and push them to the next level. And based on what they were doing and the passion they had, in fact, with Avni Sharush, in between there was this phase when they wanted to play cricket because everybody was playing cricket. So I said, forget football, not a problem. So I put them in a cricket academy. They went there for 6 months, and after 6 months they came back saying, "No, we want to play football." So somewhere the kids know what they're interested in, what they want to pursue. That is their interest, because that is the foundational aspect of what needs to be there. The second, obviously, is how they're performing on the field. Whether you feel as a parent that you could take the next step. Sometimes you might not be able to take a judgment call, but I think as a parent, I think you need to push the trigger and see where it goes, because otherwise if you leave it entirely as a multi-sport and let the kid enjoy, sometimes you might miss it. The kid might miss it. Because it's very easy to get in between. If you, I don't know if you know, the kabaddi had started, all the kids are playing kabaddi.
Oh, okay.
And they were learning. It was a lot of fun, right? But then some kids said, "Okay, I want to become a kabaddi player." Right now, I don't know what the parents did with it, but it is a very easy, in my mind, distraction. Right? You're doing well in one sport, you're playing another. So you're good in football, you're playing football. Now you're suddenly wanting to play kabaddi, you play badminton, you play table tennis. It is going to be challenging for the parent to decide. So somewhere you need to pull the trigger and say, "Okay, let me try. Give it a try."
Yeah.
Worst case, what's going to happen? You might lose a 6 months, lose a year.
Yeah.
But at least the kid will know that, okay, I want to or I don't want to. I think somewhere you need to take the judgment call.
So at some point there has to be a focus on one sport.
That is what I believe in. Ultimately, if I had left it to another 2-3 years, because that time is so crucial for kids to. So ultimately, you have to go through the structured process at some point in time if you really want to make it. And that structured process, and kids at that age are like sponge, so they pretty much soak everything up. And if that interest and passion is there, then it has a multiplier effect. So if you miss that boat, not that you're going to lose out big time, but the kid will feel, I should have taken this up maybe a couple of years.
You put in a very interesting phrase there. Miss the boat, right? I'm sure that plagues every parent. Is there I don't know, maybe it's a very hard question, but is there an age where you feel that this is the right time to groom? If not this age, then while there are obviously examples otherwise also, but is there an age in your mind where you feel that this is the right age to groom for the next step?
I think that's a very difficult one. In again, only for Avni Sharush, I can say, given that they were playing from 4.5, and I had seen them through 3 to 4 years. I had seen them develop their interest and the passion. I think that is what helped me take that decision. Maybe 6 to 8 probably would be an excellent time for a parent to pull the trigger and see if it works out. Again, as you said, there are enough and more examples which could be at the age of 10, 11, right? Who made it. So frankly, I'm not the expert on that. But just for my boys, that is what I saw.
Got it. So I think it's a good transition to the next big step that came in Avnish and Arush's journey, which is the Reliance Foundation Young Champ Scholarship. And for that, kids moved to Mumbai, if I'm not mistaken, while we were based out of Bangalore. Now that's also an big decision to send kids to a different city altogether. Walk us through, what went through in your wife's mind, maybe, in that journey.
Absolutely. And this is also a very extremely, exciting time for us. I came to know about this Reliance Foundation Young Champs to a very good friend of mine. And he mentioned that, they have this scholarship program, and he's seen kids from all over India come in, and, the kind of experience they're going through. So I approached them in terms of, when do they have the next selection. And every year, Reliance conducts for a certain, year of birth kids. So it so happened that in 2017 or 2016, that is when they were doing for 2005 bots, which is Avnish and Arush. So we had gone to Chennai. They have, in Chennai, because they were only doing for ISL clubs at that time. And Bangalore was not part of ISL club. So Chennai, Goa,
Yeah.
Mumbai, all that were there. So the closest for me was Chennai. I had spoken to the head coach, who's Pasha, who's now the technical director of AIFF. So he said, just get them, right? Let us give it a shot. Because he has not seen the boys. So we went there. They and ISL clubs typically have their own selection process. They select about 70 to 80 kids from Chennai and their surrounding areas, 100 kids, and that is their aim. And when Reliance Scouts come to Chennai, then these 100 will be able to showcase their talent, and then they select some 8 or 10. So Avnish Anush got selected through Chennai. They were part of the 8 or 10. After that, Reliance does that similar exercise through all the 7 or 8 ISL cities. And then as a final step, they call all these 80, 90 kids to Mumbai for 1 week stay. They live in the academy. They eat there. They play during the day. They have trainings. The coaches have some exciting games for them. So idea of the coaches is, and given that these are all 8 to 10 year, 11-year-old kids, pretty young, they want to see how far or how fast can a kid adapt to living with others, completely unknown, a lot of language barriers. Amnish Arush did not know Hindi.
Yeah.
English was the only thing they knew. You have kids coming from across India who were talking in their own, regional language or Hindi.
Yeah.
Might not be very comfortable with English. So everybody has to adapt, right? And that is one thing they saw. On the training, the kind of process they used to follow on the training ground, things like, if the ball goes out of play, does the kid who kicked it out go and pick up the ball, or does he expect somebody else to kick it back in, right?
Very nice.
Very simple, small things where they are seeing the attitude of a player. I came to know about it later, but that is what they were seeing. So out of these 80, 90 kids, they finally select every year about 8 to 9 or 10 kids as part of the program. Now for us, neither Avnish nor Arush got selected. While they were coming back, Arush was specifically told that, okay, don't pack your bags. Because what also Reliance does is they do a bone test, just because, a lot of age issues happen. And some of the other, states don't have the birth certificates, etc. Right? So they did that, and Arush got the call, right? While Avnish did not. So our biggest challenge was now Arush has got selected in Young Champs and Avnish has not.
Yeah.
And we spoke to multiple psychiatrists. In fact, Reliance Young Champ has the head coach was somebody from UK and Amsterdam and Netherlands. So they had called us. They said, "Yeah, we realize that you have twins, and we realize they're too young, and you might not want to separate them, and we respect that decision, but we really look forward to having Arush join us." So they were pretty considerate. I tried to, kind of reason with them, saying, if you've taken one, is there a way you can take both? So obviously that did not happen. So they took Arush, and we had, Avnish at home. So that was kind of a tough time for us, as well as him, because he wasn't sure where this was going, and we were not sure what was going to happen. So, but that 1 year turned out to be a boon in disguise for Avnish. In fact, he joined Roots football, and they won the I-League under 13 state.
Very nice.
They beat BFC. So I think, that really brought out a very different side of him when he was all by himself. Because otherwise, you have a twin by your side, and typically a lot of those discussions happen within them, and either there's an understanding. So that gave a real, different perspective to him when you go out as a lone player on the field, completely different players, don't have your twin by your side, and to be able to come back. And I think that really helped. And the next year, I think Reliance called him back, saying we were given. So they wanted to give a try for Avnish, and I did inquire as to what changed. They said we're just going by the gene pool theory, and they said we see that Arush is whatever, we love his excitement and we love his game, so we want to see whether we can give another chance to Avnish. So that is how he got selected the year after.
Nice.
So yeah, so it was a very difficult time for us in terms of keeping our composure. There is a lot of excitement because one kid is out. My wife was not ready to let him go. Arush, I said let us. So I was for it. My wife was not. So I think there was a lot of those discussions. My parents are not really for it. So I said, this is the best thing to happen for them in India at this point in time. So
just remind us, Rajan, how old were the two boys at this time?
So Arush was 12.
Right.
So yeah, so he was just joining 7th grade in Greenwood. That is when he got selected, and Avnish got selected in 8th. So in 7th, obviously, it's a difficult thing to do, to let the kid go 3 out of the house when you see kids move out after 12th grade. But well, we had to take a call somewhere. So yeah, that was good. So that was a very difficult time and an interesting one as well. When Arush used to come home, I think there was a lot of excitement, but then it has to be measured because you have Avnish on the other side. So so it is
Can understand. Cool. So we have a few more parents joining in. So I was about to ask a question, and we got one more.
Sure.
And what about academics as a fail-safe? How did you think about a balance, if at all?
So the kids were doing pretty decently in school. Ultimately, the number of classes they used to miss in school because of tournaments was huge. But I think school typically was pretty considerate to give them that extra coaching classes or whatever. Same thing in Reliance. But I think if I were to just, go with, if I want them to pursue their passion, then you have to let go of one thing, right? So Reliance. Okay, so let me take a step back. The advantage in Reliance is they're pretty clear that the kids have to score a certain minimum amount of percentage. In fact, every year they used to weed out kids based on either their attitude or academics or to the game. There was an intrinsic pressure within the kids to make sure that they do decently well above average in academics. So somewhere that was taken care of. But if I were given a choice in terms of it is purely football versus purely academics, I think I'll just go with football, at least for the time being. I mean, it has to run its course, right? Somewhere, and then I might probably be a bit different in that sense, because if you try to push the kids both in academics and in football, the kind of pressure that at that age, it's just not worth it. So if as a parent we feel that academics is really something which you want the kids to be really good at, then maybe take it easy on the sports front, because sports is extremely demanding. The amount of time they spend on the field and they're tired. I remember these kids come back in the evening in the car itself. They are, they didn't know where their hands and feet were. But you try to make it up during the weekend. So you do your bit from an academic perspective, but it can't be that the same day it has to happen, or you need to let go some.
But that is a very, very important criteria in every parent's mind. How do you balance sports and academics? So if the key question then is how do you de-risk it? After that, then what about, and that's actually a similar question that we've got on this same point. What about undergrad admissions, job prospects later in life? What will you tell a sport parent who's going through the same struggle, same dilemma in this aspect?
So what I've seen is, these kids who are pursuing sport in a structured manner, the kind of discipline and kind of work ethic they develop over a period of time is humongous. That itself, to a certain extent, is a de-risker, because the kind of the way we say, right, if you want a kid to learn something, we say, this is the way it is, you go ahead and learn it. I think the amount of time they spend with the coaches, the kind of discipline they have to maintain in the academy, you still have projects which are being given by school, like in Reliance, the coaches give them projects, group projects. So the kind of adaptability that you need to have to work with the others to make the project on time, the kind of amount of effort you put on the academics to make sure that you are above the cutoff mark, apart from the work ethic you develop on the field and the discipline you develop on the field. I think that itself, holistic development for a kid, for a young adult, it pays off. It is humongous, right? And as I said, if it has to be completely de-risked in terms of आगे जाके कौन job देगा, then you're already saying that I don't think I trust the other side of it, right? So then the choice is clear, right? I mean, it can't be, if it has to be that explicit, then I think there are enough and more kids who are going down the academic route. But if it has to be implicit and yet you're expecting a really explicit result out of this, then I think you have a challenge on hand. So I think somewhere as a parent, and I know of kids who have gone through this process, and by 8th or 9th, they have made a choice. They have said, no, I don't think I'll go through this, right? And that is a good enough thing. Right? The parents have run their course. The parents have given enough opportunity to the kids. They don't feel obligated that I push my kid back into academics. So the kids are extremely smart these days. So they play against peers. They play outside the city, at state, national, whatever level they are, and they get a sense of whether they can make. Yeah. So by 8th or 9th, I have seen a lot of kids who have made choice to probably not pursue it. They want to play, but not pursue it. So they go back to academics. I think that could be a good enough way to do it. Yeah. So, and how old are Avnish and Arush today? So they'll turn 18 in April next month. Okay. They're in their 12th grade. Their boards are going on. Once their exams are done, they have a couple of tournaments which are going on in Reliance. I think by May or June they'll be done. And we are actually, so I am in fact, as I said, they were born in US. So I've been working with US universities and colleges for their application, and they obviously want to play, right? So we are working on that. So I think that. Yeah, that's what I wanted to check. So what's next now for the boys, now that we've gone through the entire grind from school to academy to Reliance Foundation program, and also all the exposure of playing internationally. So what's next now for the boys? How do you see this journey taking ahead? Right. So the kind of conversations we had with the boys in their 9th, 10th was, what is their interest, right? Do they still have the same passion? Because sometimes you're in the academy, you're doing decently well, but you really don't want to play beyond the point, right? So we want to make sure that they still want to pursue the sport. They still want to pursue to the maximum possible, and see if they can make it big. In fact, I had taken them to Europe as well. We've been to US, they've taken part there as well. So they were clear that, and obviously there's a lot of research that we had done regarding whether to go to Europe or UK or to US. What the information or what I found was, just the competition in Europe is humongous. It is a mecca of football. There are a lot of extremely good, extremely talented kids who still don't make it. And in Europe, it is either a game or it's academics. Can't have a mix of both. I was not very confident in that in terms of whether I should just leave the boys completely on their own at that age. because if you're demoralized beyond a point, then it becomes very difficult. So the boys themselves then finally chose that they want to pursue in US. They saw MLS. Well, obviously the discussion was always, US football is not football and all that. Finally, I think beyond a point, they have chosen that, born in US, they have a better chance of making it decently well in US, and they have seen the levels of football there. So we've been since the 9th or 10th grade, we've been interacting with the college coaches in US, and there is a different process the way it is done in US. So I've been pretty much working on that. So there is interest in from a few colleges, and then that is what I'm hoping to close in the next couple of months.
Got it. We have a comment here, Rajendra, that I'm waiting to see the boys in the 2026 World Cup.
Well, I think that's going to be challenging. In US, given that they've been in India, we went to a few camps in US. I got really good feedback about the boys from the coaches saying, we did not expect that Indian kids could play at this level. So while that was good, given that they were never in the US circuit, see, you play in India, the coaches know you. The coaches now, obviously being part of Reliance, they know you in different cities. So when you go there and talk about Reliance, automatically you get that one leg up.
Nice.
But when you go to US, obviously nobody knows you. So you have to prove yourself, and that is what we're trying to do through the camps, and that is our selection. So yeah, so let's see how it goes. It's going to be a tough grind, but I'm hoping for that.
Got it. And follow-up comment here is 2030 World Cup is fine too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No worries there.
Absolutely.
So I'll just wait if there are any more questions. But while we wait for any other questions that might come in, Rajendra, one thing I wanted to touch upon, but we got missed in the conversation, was at the academy. Can you walk us through what is a typical day like for the boys? What all do they go through at the Reliance Foundation?
Yeah. So their days are pretty packed. So I think their day starts around 5:30. They have certain days they have gym, certain days they have core exercises. After which they go for training, breakfast, and then they go to school. Come back from school, they have tuitions for an hour and a half, and then they go back to the training ground. And at night, obviously, they're supposed to catch up with the academic aspect, projects, etc. And then 10 o'clock is nights out. So the day is extremely packed in terms of, every time you talk to them, I remember when they had actually gone there in the beginning, by 8:39, they used to be dead tired. It is either physical or mental exhaustion. There's just too many things which are happening, too many things, and they were always behind. They always felt that they were behind and they had to catch up, they had to do this, they had missed out. So that has got better over a period of time, and now it is part of their daily routine. So even when they come home, they try to maintain the same schedule, to maintain the same regimen. So so I think their academy pretty much make sure that they are either focusing either on the core exercises, either they're swimming, physical aspect of it. Of course, I forgot a big part. They also have classes on mental well-being. So there is a separate section which is dedicated where they have a psychologist in-house, but they also call people from outside expert sports psychologists. Given that some kids get injured, there is injury time. How do you bounce back from that? Some kids are not doing that well on the field. How do you bounce back on that? So there is a lot of mental aspect, and it shows that it's a team game. Or somebody is not doing well in studies, and is constantly under the gun that I might be kicked out of the academy next year. So a lot of these mental aspects, they have a lot of sessions, a lot of exercises, where they are, where they're given that exposure to try and be at par, keep a same mentality over a period of time. I think I would really thankful to Reliance that that is one thing which because I had also questioned, I said, do you guys do that? And he said, come on. So that has been one focus right from, and especially for kids who are coming in at the age of 10, 11 years, away from their parents, from very different backgrounds. So I think that also helps soothe their nerves. So a lot of that really helps.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to know that so much effort and is being put into all of this. But very few kids will go through the whole residential academy route, right? If somebody is not going through that, what would you advise? How should a sport parent take care of all these other aspects? Training is one thing, but like you said, mental health, fitness, swimming, relaxation, injury. How can a sport parent, take care of all of this beyond just training, if not a residential academy, because that is a huge step for every parent to.
Right. No, that is tough. I don't think I have an answer, but a lot of these clubs I have seen even in Bangalore, a lot of football clubs are taking care of pretty much everything. So even when we put Avnish in Roots, the only reason I had put in Roots was because they had a psychologist on board and a physio on board. At that time, not a lot of teams had that. So I was looking for someplace, and given that Arush had joined and I had seen what Reliance was doing, I wanted to put Avnish in a place where some of these small things are being taken care of. It might not be 100%, but at least there is an attempt to do that. That itself gives a lot of comfort to the parent that some of these things are being taken care of.
So you were proactively looking for academies. So that was like a checklist when you were looking for academies.
To an extent. I think had Arush not gone to Reliance, probably I might not have known about it myself, right? Because mental aspect is one thing which a lot of us think, okay, bacha ghar pe hai, we'll talk to him, and I think it is more about that talk. But it is not so. It is much more than that. A lot of those aspects which we, as a parent, might overlook, or we might just really have kids glove, handle with kids gloves, which is not required. So I think a lot of those aspects, good and bad, sometimes are required. So I was looking more from that perspective. So for parents who are neither in residential nor in a club environment, it is a bit challenging. I mean, I know how it is. So yeah.
And residential academies, very few will go. Academies, saying there are academies now giving the support. The school, that is one institution every child will go through. And you said the school Amish and Arush were going through was very considerate. What support did they provide that helped Amish and Arush focus on football? And what else do you think schools can do to support athletes?
I think a majority of the schools do support their athletes quite a bit. Even when we were growing up, I remember that we used to miss a lot of classes, and the teachers were pretty considerate about that. So I have seen that in DPS, I have seen that in Greenwood, I have seen that in a couple of other schools also, because kids of my friends who are studying in different schools and colleges. A lot of these schools are pretty much considerate. If the kid is going for a tournament, the coach will make sure that the teachers are aware that this kid is going to miss school. The teachers make sure that either the notes or some extra classes are done for them. So even the principals, right? I think principals have been pretty forthcoming. I have seen a lot of principals being really proud because ultimately these kids are doing it for the school. So it is not just that the individual goes and plays and forgets about it. So there is a lot of pride in and that is what that cohesiveness is all about, right? So you're doing it, you go to these tournaments, you suddenly have DPS, you go to the Bishop Cottons, everybody has their own pride of our school has to win. So the schools are pretty considerate. I don't see.
So you spoke about Rajendra, leniency in attendance and second extra classes that helped Avnish and Arush. Anything else in your mind that schools should be doing that would help?
I'm not sure. I think that is pretty much what we can do, right? So the logistics and whatever help they can provide, I think that.
Sure. Okay, we have one question here, Rajendra, which is, given your great personal experience, do you plan on helping other parents on the journey of supporting their child athlete?
Yes. So what I have done is over the past few months, I have started this consulting service I'm actually now in the process of registering the company. But given my experience of what I have gone through when Amrish and Anush were kids, right up to their undergrad application to US. So I'm actually working with a couple of parents already, but that is something now I'm really interested in helping other parents in terms of whether they want to pursue in India, whether they want to pursue football abroad, whether it is a short term. I'm sorry, whether it's short term, whether they want to give it a 1.5 month exposure trip, or whether they want to really pursue scholarships that are provided, say in universities in US. There are a lot of avenues which I think just that the information is missing. We as parents really have to struggle to figure out just the information piece of it, right? If the information is available, ultimately the legwork has to be done by the parent and the kid. But if the information itself is not there, you lose half the battle there itself. So that is what I'm trying to now bridge the gap, bring that information to the fore, work with the parents. So in fact, I'm working with a parent from the north and one from Bengaluru. In fact, one from Mumbai has already gone to US this year and joined one of the colleges.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So yeah, so I think the advantage of having this experience, being through this grind, is to give it back, right? So and that is pretty much what I'm doing,
Nice.
and I'm setting that up, and that is what I'm really excited that there are enough and more parents who are really the times have changed, right? Earlier when we were growing up, it was more academic. Sports did not have much of a choice, not much of an opportunity. And as somebody said, what is that person going to do when they grew up in terms of making a living for themselves? Now the situation is very different. A lot of opportunities out there, and a lot of parents who are willing to go to that extra step to see if the kid can succeed in something they love and they have a passion to do. And that is precisely what I'm trying to bridge the gap and work with the parents to do that.
That's great. I'm sure that'll be super helpful for parents. As you said, information is lacking, so that would be great. For parents here at the webinar, Rajendra, if you would like to share your details or anything that if they would like to take your service with this, I think they would love to know.
Absolutely. I mean, as of now, my email ID, if you could just type it and the phone number. I will start with that because I'm still registering the company. I don't have the website, etc. That is something I'm working on. Hopefully, in the next few weeks, I should be able to put that up as well. But till such time, anybody who wants to just have a chat, doesn't have to be any kind of a service, but just a chat in terms of whatever I can help with based on my experience. Right, I definitely am more than willing to help out.
Sure. So I'll type in your details for people who might
please.
be interested in
please.
reaching out to you.
And I think that is one big change which I have seen over the past decade, especially in Bangalore. I mean, I know parents want their best, even the other parts of the country, based on where my kids have grown up and the circuit I have seen here. Bangalore, I have seen parents, just go all out. So really, probably I was lucky in that sense that I was in a place where you had the other ecosystem and parents and the kids who were all gunning for something similar. So I think that really helped. Probably that.
Well, as they say, it takes a village to raise a tribe. So
absolutely.
I have one last question. While I do, again, one last round for if anyone has any questions for Rajan, please feel free to type in. So my last question, Rajendra, is we hear from a lot of kids and their parents on if we can help them raise sponsorships. From in your journey, have you seen yourself or other parents raise sponsorships? Any do's and don'ts around how parents can raise sponsorships for their child?
That is well. I mean, I don't personally know of individuals who have been able to raise sponsorship. I know a lot of people I've come across who want sponsorship. Because a lot of these corporates typically are the ones who would be the best bet to, and the corporates are doing their bit. So if you you see GSW, they have set up IIS in Inspire Technology, Inspire Institute of Sports in Vijayanagar. Reliance is doing their bit. I know a couple of other corporates who are doing their bit in providing the infrastructure and the coaches to help the young sportsmen, who probably are not or who are a bit economically challenged. So there are avenues of that sort, but individually I'm not sure. So I think the best way for somebody who needs to do that probably is to reach out to some of these the young champs of the world or JSWs of the world, and if the kid is good enough, they get an opportunity to go and participate and train there, and obviously then things are set up for them.
Okay. Good. And is there anything that we as Sportz Village can do, Rajendra, to help aspiring sports parents?
I mean, you guys are doing a tremendous job. I know Somil has been doing this for ages now, going to schools, talking to parents, talking to teachers, the kind of, and then he has a target of, so many million, kids to play. The primary thing about, given that there are a lot of focus on the gadgets these days, just to make the kids active, go out in the field and play, I think that itself is a huge thing. Beyond that, I think there is a lot of work which the parents themselves have to do to see, and I know it is tough with all of us running in multiple directions, a job which is now become, after COVID, become 24/7. Both the parents are working. So I know it is a stretch, but if we don't take that extra effort on the kids to make them super active, there is a passion. I know each kid has something they love on the sports field. Right? It is just a matter of us as parents to facilitate that, to bring out in the open, and let the kid, pursue that dream. I think that is the least we can do. So I think Sportz Village has been doing fantastic. I think the kind of platform they've been providing in multiple schools, and it continue to do so, I think that is amazing. So I think, just keep that fantastic work going on, and any kind of support.
Thank you for your kind words. Amazing. It has been a fantastic conversation, Rajan. Thank you so much. Again, I think if any final comments, Rajan, any final advice, and otherwise we'll close the session.
No, I think I'm good. I had a lot of monologue, so hopefully, at least somebody might benefit out of this. And for others who want to have offline chat, share the details. I think look forward to helping anybody else I can.
Sure, I have left your details in the chat box. If anyone feels like they would like to reach out to Rajan for chat or advice, please feel free to do so. And thank you all the parents for joining in today. Hope it was useful for you. And thanks again, Rajendra, for your time.
So much for having me.
Bye. Have a good day.